quote garden that describes the consequences of drinking and driving. The problem with drinking and driving is the morning after. I have used the following sources in my presentation: mad.org, alcohol101plus.org, ncadd.org, campusexplorer.com, duifoundation.com, foxnews.com, texascjc.org, kbtx.com, collegeparents.org, the Carpool Internal Operations Manual 2013, quotegarden.com, an interview with my Aunt Caroline Miller in June 2013, citizensvoice.com, one.bp.blogspot.com, and people.tamu.edu. My name is Dani Miller, and I am going to talk about the dangers of drinking and driving. Drinking and driving among college students is a problem with huge consequences for college campuses. In order to decrease the occurrence of drinking and driving, I'm going to stress the importance of student-run safe ride programs. Drinking and driving is so common in the U.S. that, according to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MADD, if all 17 million people who admitted to driving drunk had their own state, it would be the 5th largest in the U.S. Drinking and driving among college students is a problem with huge consequences. Think about this. It's a Friday night in a college town, and many students have had a few too many to drink. In the meantime, some of them have forgotten to designate a driver, while others have the misbelief that they are sober enough to drive home. These are common problems on college campuses that need to be addressed to ensure the safety of the campus. According to the Texas Criminal Justice Coalition, or TCJC, within the past few years, the rate of alcohol-related traffic fatalities have been increasing in Texas when compared to other states. Even worse, another study by the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence found that a young person dies every 3 hours as a result of drinking and driving. According to the Harvard School of Public Health College Alcohol Study, 3 out of 10 students drive home drunk. In this same study, they also found that drinking and driving and binge drinking have a direct positive relationship, which means that those binge drinkers frequently drive home after a binging episode. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, drinking and driving fatalities among those 18 to 20 years old are nearly twice that of the population over 21. Drinking and driving personally affects many people's lives, and I would bet most of you know someone who was killed in a drunk driving accident. For instance, in my family, a hit-and-run drunk driver killed my 5-year-old cousin Kevin, as he was crossing the street while holding his father's hand. Alcohol impairs a person's ability to drive because it decreases attentiveness and also alters a person's ability to react to changes. As you can see from this figure from blogspot.com, already at a blood alcohol content of 0.02, there is divided attention and a decreased reaction time and visual function. At the legal limit BAC of 0.08, there is a loss of concentration, attention, speed control, and judgment. While many students do designate a driver, drinking and driving among students is still a widespread problem. According to the College Explorer, the United States found that in 2009, 3.4 million students from 18 to 24 drove home drunk. A study from MADD shows the true extent of the problem, when they found that statistically, 2 out of every 3 people will be involved in an alcohol-related collision in their lifetime. There are legal consequences for those responsible for the crime, and there are emotional consequences for those who have lost a loved one as a result of a drinking and driving collision. For instance, according to the DUI Foundation, the legal consequences range from jail sentences to license suspensions and also impounding vehicles. The emotional consequences for those who have witnessed an accident or who have lost a loved one range from post-traumatic stress syndrome, depression, withdrawal, or loss of appetite. A few months after my cousin died, I took a few minutes to speak with my Aunt Caroline Miller, who witnessed the accident. She told me that she often has flashbacks about the horrible images she saw that night, and she struggles to get them out of her head. As a result of the accident, my aunt has been through countless hours with grief counselors and has even had suicidal thoughts. If nothing is done to prevent these problems, DUI charges or driving under the influence charges may continue to rise. According to Fox News, within the past decade, DUI charges among students have been rising. Even worse, methods of punishment have proved ineffective in reducing drunk driving. For instance, MAD found that 50 to 75% of convicted drivers drive on a suspended license. As you can see, drinking and driving is a major problem, but in order to reduce this problem, new approaches must be considered. One of the best ways to reduce drinking and driving is through preventative measures, such as student-run safe ride programs. According to a study from TCJC, they found that there should be a switch from punishment to prevention measures. They found that punishments such as jail sentences or license suspensions were futile, but preventative measures reduced possible DWI or driving while intoxicated arrests and accidents. Many colleges have student-run safe ride programs that give students a free safe ride back to their home or where they're staying that night. These rides are so popular because they're both free and confidential, and most of the drivers for that organization take an oath to be non-judgmental. While the students are guaranteed a free ride home, the organization also helps keep drunk students out of the driver's seat. These organizations have an extremely feasible startup. All it takes is a passionate group of students who are willing to be diligent and dedicated to the cause of preventing drunk driving and taking drunk drivers off the road. It would also take funds to start the organization, which could be required through donations, membership fees, and university loans or money. College campuses would benefit from student-run safe ride organizations because they would be safer communities with less drunk drivers on the road. Texas A&M University has a safe ride program that also doubles as an educational resource for students. As shown from this image from the Texas A&M website, it's called Carpool, which stands for Caring Aggies Are Protecting Over Our Lives. According to TCJC, Carpool takes about an average of 650 student drunk drivers off the road every weekend. The reason why Carpool is so popular in College Station is because it's a socially accepted organization and it's no questions asked, even if a patron may be underage. Fox News reported that MAD was considered an expert in preventing drunk driving, so it was a huge achievement for Carpool to be recognized by MAD as a community hero in preventing drunk driving. The implementation of an organization such as Carpool would be fairly simple. Once again, it would take a group of passionate individuals who would be willing to work together to create the organization. After deciding what services would be provided, they would have to acquire funds and talk to corporate sponsors and insurance companies. After all the paperwork had been filed, their organization will be ready to run. Carpool is one of the most successful safe ride organizations in the country. According to the Carpool Internal Operations Manual, version 2013, as of fall 2012, 200,000 rides had been provided for students since its founding in 1999. That's over 200,000 lives saved. Organizations such as Carpool have a slow initiation. It takes years to get the foundation set before it takes off. And it may take years for the types of gains that are anticipated. But because it would still save lives, it would be worth it. Think of it like this. If the man who had killed my cousin had gone to a school that had a student safe ride organization, he might have been able to get a safe ride home, and Kevin might be alive today. As shown, student-run safe ride programs are essential on college campuses in order to decrease drinking and driving. In summary, drinking and driving is a huge problem on college campuses, and millions of students each year admit to drinking and driving. One of the best solutions to prevent drunk driving on college campuses is through student-run safe ride programs. In conclusion, I'd like to leave you with a statistic from College Parent. 1,400 people ages 18 to 24 die each year as a result of drinking and driving. But if a group of committed students work together to create a safe ride program, it would be able to decrease this number.